it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Craft again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today is Thank You Thursday. So this is the project that we are making today. It's a little, let me just get that off. It's a little box in which we have a mini chocolate bar. Now, for anyone who knows me, you will know that this is safe in my keeping because I don't eat chocolate. It's not that I don't want to eat chocolate. Well, I don't actually want to eat chocolate. I developed a problem with eating chocolate quite some years ago. So it and I do not get on. And that's fine. We are both perfectly happy with that. But I do appreciate that other people like chocolate. So this is just a little gift box for someone, just to show them that you care. This is using the lovely new Foil Frenzy card and also the copper trim. And what I've done with this is how it comes on the reel, and then you can stretch it out so it gives it a bit more fluff. The Foil Frenzy card comes in 4 colours and 3 patterns. So it comes in a stripe, this dot, and then the one that we're going to be using today, which is a sort of chevron. I'll show you that in a minute. And it comes in Tangerine Tango, Lemon Lime Twist, Soft Sky, and Berry Burst. This is the Tangerine Tango. And I'm going to be using Berry Burst. And this is the fantastic sort of chevron-y card. It's just beautiful. And it's just that nice heavy-duty craft card on the other side. So let's get started. I've cut this to 6 inches by 5.5, so you can get 4 out of 1 sheet if you so desire. And then if I find my measurements, which is always a useful idea, we will. And as ever, all the measurements will be linked in the blog post below, so you don't need to write anything down. And I will do the metric conversion and get that onto the blog post as well. But for this, I will be doing it in Imperial, because I am an Imperial girl, and the scoreboard is in Imperial. So with the 6-inch side at the top, and one thing I would say is your box is going to go round, so it's going to go round that way. So if there is so if it was the stripes and you wanted it to go round the box, you would have your stripes going up and down, and if you wanted them to go across, you'd have them going from side to side. So I hope that makes sense. Hopefully it will become even more evident as we make the box. So with the 6-inch line at the top, we are going to score at 1/2 inch. Now do be careful when scoring this, because because of the foiling, but also because it is the craft cardstock. You do have to be quite careful not to jump lines. But yeah, so just bear that in mind. So that's first score line is at 1/2 inch, then 1.5, 4.5, and 5.5. And I will give you the final measurements of the box when I've done this. And then with the 5.5 at the top, you're scoring at 1 inch. 2.5 inches, oops, there we go, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and 5 inches. And that is our scoring done. So let's get rid of that. So the final box, let me bring this in, is 3 inches across, 1.5 inches deep, and then, or back, and then 1 inch down. So it's not square at the end, it's a rectangle at the end. So, turn over and burnish. And you do have to be reasonably good with your burnishing, because again, with the foiling and the craft cardstock, it does need quite a bit of encouragement. But don't go too mad. And it's better to use your bone folder. Had a bit of a moment there. Flat rather than poking it, particularly with the foil, because you don't want to scuff the foil. But we'll burnish all of our score lines. That one doesn't really seem to want to go because it's very narrow. The narrow ones are always a bit of a challenge, particularly when they're on the end. So, where are we? Today is, well, you'll be seeing this on Thursday. I shot this earlier in the week. We've had some really strange weather here in South Oxfordshire. It doesn't seem to know from one day to the next, or indeed within the day, whether it wants to be sunny or cold and wet. So it's doing all of it in one day. Right, so with your 1/2 inch, let's turn it over so that you can see it. Can you see it better? Hopefully. I'll be able to see it better. Anyway, so with your 1/2 inch score line towards you, you're going to cut up here. And I always like to cut to the, what I think of as the inside of my score line. This I'm keeping. So for me, I need to cut for this line, I cut to the left. And for this line, I cut to the right of the score line. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to wedge those in a little bit on both sides, because that's going to be our closure. And then on this side, I'm going to, we don't need this piece, so I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to wedge in straight away, because this bit is going to be inside the box. So I might as well just wedge it straight in. And then because this is going to be part of the bit that you see, I will go to the inside of my score line. And again, I want to go to, the inside of this score line. It's not terribly easy to see on the craft cardstock, but it is there. So it's not impossible. And then this is going to be the flap at the top of the box. That again will help keep everything closed. So I'm just wedging that a bit. And then I will wedge this bit too. And then I can get rid of the 1/2 inch there. And you don't actually, you can get rid of a bit more than the 1/2 inch because this is going to fold in here. So actually it's quite good to not have all of it there. It doesn't matter if you do leave it all there, but it's just as well to not. So wedge that, cut to the inside of my score line, and then wedge out. On the other side of my score line, cut on the inside of my score line, wedge out, and wedge out. Let's get rid of those, and then again just cut those little flaps off. So you end up with this, or if you're looking at the right side, terribly bright, this. So we are nearly there. What I would suggest is before you put the box together, you find a small hole punch. And we're just going to do a little dip here so that you've got a finger hole. I do like to be, because I am one of those people that is a little bit, you know, about these things, I do like to kind of line it up in the middle. And as it transpires, this is pretty much, there is this line that is in the middle. So I'm going to just assume that it is the middle and punch that out so that that is then just there to help open. Then fast fuse, and we're going to fast fuse these two on each side, and we need a reasonable amount because it's foil cardstock. It does need, you do need a proper amount of fuse because the foil is less inclined to stick or to take the stick, and certainly I would say don't use snail. You could probably use tear and tape. There are advantages to the wet adhesive, the Tombow, when you're doing a box, because it does give you a bit of wiggle room. But again, I think with the foil, I would be tempted not to. And then I build from the back of my box. So this is the back of my box. It just means it's easier to get your hands in. So all I'm doing, she says, not getting her hands in, is lining up this straight edge to this to this crease, and then pressing down, and then do the same thing on the other side. And then it's easy to just pull in the front panel because you haven't got your lid in the way. And the reason I know that is because I have on occasions done it the wrong way around. Oh, and look, I didn't wedge out. Didn't wedge out this side. Ha! Failure. So we'll wedge out the flap there and there. And then that is basically my box. So let's pop our chocolate bar in there, pop it to one side. Now I have got a scrap, and I mean literal scrap, of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm using the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set. It is one of my favourite sets at the moment, as you will have gathered from the number of times it's featuring in my videos. Berry Burst ink, and I've just taken the Thanks a Bunch stamp, and I'm going to stamp that down onto my Whisper White. Just leave it there for a short while and bring it up, and then just realised I need a scrap of Berry Burst as well. It's sort of a scrap, it will do. Right, so I've got my 1¼ and my 1 3/8 inches. So the 1¼ I'm going to just pop round my sentiment. And one of the joys of stamping first and punching later is that you can line up where you want the circle to be, and you don't have to worry about lining the stamp up to the circle, which is nigh on impossible. And then with my 1 3/8 circle punch, I'll just punch out a circle from that. And just to bling it up a bit, I used this on the previous one. I'm just going to add one of our enamel shapes, the metallic enamel shapes, and I'm going for a heart again because I'm thanking someone, and I think hearts and thanks go together well. And then I'm going to bring in, so I've got a short length of this. This is the Crinkle ribbon, the Crinkle seam binding ribbon, and again this is in Berry Burst. And I've got fuse all over my fingernails, never mind. And like on the original, I want this to be able to slide off, so I don't want to stick my sentiment immediately over my ribbon, but I do want my sentiment to be in the middle, which is fine. So I need my dimensionals, which I have buried just for a change. Dimensional in the middle of my Berry Burst circle, and then, oh, more fingers and thumbs, just line that up, and then another one on the back. And actually, have I, no, up you come, because I haven't stuck this down fully yet. I actually want the dimensional to be to one side, so that I can put my ribbon underneath and still have it sliding off. So then I'm going to line that up sort of in the middle and make sure it's properly pushed down. So that's all nicely lined up. Then some Berry Burst Crinkle ribbon, and I'm again just going to tie a knot because it's a small box. I don't want a huge great bow on a small box because it will just overwhelm the box, and that's not what we want to do. So just a simple, I think in America you call it a square knot, we call it a reef knot in the UK, and then that can slide underneath. It can slide underneath, honest it can, and then cut the ends, one and two, and there we go. 2 little thank you boxes, just to show someone that you care. And rather than just giving them the sweet, you've wrapped it up nicely as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, then please hit subscribe. This is going out just before the end of July, if I've got my maths right. So there are 2 things I just want to remind you of. If you want to become a member of my team, then please remember we are doing the Christmas in July giveaway, sort of bonus pack, which is £65 of value, and it's 2D blocks, grid paper, paper snips, snail, bone folder, and the Christmas of Carol stamp set. And you'd have seen me do projects with that. It's also bonus days, so for £45 you spend in my online store, you will get an email voucher from Stampin' Up to, worth £4.50 to spend in August. And if you spend £90, you get 2 £4.50 vouchers to spend in August. And also, if you shop on my online store until the end of July, you will be entered into my free prize draw for the 2 Hostess sets, the Tranquil Tulips and Dare to Dream stamp sets. So that's all good stuff. But the biggie really is this, because this is the best deal out. £195 worth of product for just £99, and it's just a membership fee. Don't feel you have to turn it into a business. All we're doing is saying, if you give us £99, we'll give you £195 of product and a minimum of 20% off the price of your future purchases. So that's before tax. So it's a brilliant deal, and if you're buying anyway, why not get it at a discount? And it would also mean that you can pre-order the new Christmas stuff, which is coming out on the 1st of August for demonstrators, and I've already seen some of it, and trust me, it's amazing. So that's it. I shall leave you in peace, and I will hope to see you again very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.